check the nut fit.
Wait. Go ahead again.
Okay, I'm stopping to check the nut fit on my threads. I've moved my carriage back my 1 full turn. I now need to move the tailstock out of the way. And I can take the nut and see if it's possible to screw it on. It goes on that far and stops. This is actually good. We're close, but we're not so small that it just screws all the way on. So that's a good mark. I'll set that back. I'll bring my tailstock in. Now at this point, notice that tailstock coming in. If we weren't tight in the chuck, and I slid that in and slammed it and hit this might move. All our orientation here would be lost. And then that, when it makes its cut, that's the time when she takes your threads off. So come in, kind of gently, lock it, bring it in by hand, snug it up, lock your spindle. Okay, backing up. Try the other way. Now, my next pass isn't going to be a full 3/1000ths of an inch cut. If I felt like it was really close, my cut would only be 1/1000ths on the compound rest. I don't think I was quite that close, so I'm going to take 2/1000ths. And I'll take the pass that way. I was a little out of sequence there. Getting out of my zone. I don't want to get out of my zone. Okay, now it's really starting to look like threads. The blue is almost entirely gone. Our threading tool has taken that blue in the wet form of chips, but we've also got some roughness on those peaks now. So before I go anywhere else, well, I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to back my carriage up, and then I'll use the file to break the peaks off of those threads. Reverse direction. We're moving our carriage out of the way. So in this case, for my file to cut, my file's coming in from the bottom. Long, slow cut. Just breaks those peaks off, and I can clean it with my paper towel. Now I'm in my spot to check my threads again. Take the nut, see how it screws on. It does screw on a little bit better, but it's also getting tight again. All right, so I'm not done yet. Take the nut off. I'm going to go forward and bring my tool back to my work. Then I'll bring up the tailstock. Notice that wobble? When that tailstock is in place, it takes that out. Increases the quality of our work and our cut. Lock the tailstock, bring the spindle up, snug it, lock it. Okay, I'm ready for my next pass. It's going to be 1/1000ths of an inch. check that nut again. Getting the tailstock out of the way. It's going a little bit better. Still tightening up. You have to be a little bit careful here. If you really force it, a chip can get in there and lock your nut on your spindle, and it would then destroy those threads when you take it off. So that's close. At most, we'll only need a couple thousandths more. Now for the record, in this case, I've gone total distance, total depth of about 34 thousandths on my compound. Some of you might get your threads done at that point, some of you might take a little bit more. Taking another thousandths. Okay, my carriage is disengaged. Threads feel good. If they felt a little bit rough, just in this position, I would check and see about using that file again to take off those peaks. And that's half threaded on. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. If I don't want to take even a whole thousandth for the next pass, I could just come back and take a repeat pass without adjusting my compound rest at all. I think that's what I'll do. What's interesting to see is that pass will also take some chips off. Careful, in the wrong direction. This care at the end is what affects whether you're getting a class 2, a class 3, or a class 4 fit. We want to be able to screw it on and try and wiggle it this way. And we shouldn't be able to feel any wiggle. It should be going very smoothly. And this one is. Okay, I'm already on there. Whole nut. Smooth fit. I feel, does it match the micrometer? No. but it's pretty close, so I'd rate this one as a class 3 fit. Once you're that way, your threading is done. We can get our tool out of the way. We can lift the half nut, move the carriage manually, clean off our work. Be careful of your threading tool. If you're done with it, take it off, put it back, clean it up, put it back on the shelf. This is the kind of fit we're looking for. It might be a little bit harder to move than this. That, and next to no wobble, that's a good fit. Now before we take it out of the lathe, we want to do a final cut with a file. That's a chamfer. At the very end of our spindle, these edges are still sharp. So we're going to turn our spindle on and use our file just take those edges off. Held at about 45 degrees. Takes all those sharp edges off. Running backwards. There's a file on the bottom side. Looks just like that. That thread, while still a little bit ugly, is a very good thread. From there, if you wanted to, we could take a wire brush and clean it up just a little bit. That one's done. We would now take it out, switch ends, and we have one lever to change on our gearbox. We change this one, and now, when we're under power and we're engaged, the carriage moves from the left to the right. We would start threading in the notch and move the tool toward the tailstop. Other than that, it's the same process as we did for the right-hand thread.